In a week that has seen a slew of executions of death row killers in the U.S., with states enforcing decades-old death penalty convictions, one man's capital punishment saw him struggling for a horrifying 6 minutes, while officials carried out his killing by nitrogen gas. Alabama executed Alan Eugene Miller, 59, for committing a triple murder in the 90s, where he carried out 3 back-to-back workplace shootings. Miller was pronounced dead at 6:38 p.m. local time at a South Alabama prison after shaking and trembling on the gurney for about 2 minutes, his body occasionally pulling against the restraints. This was followed by roughly 6 minutes of periodic gasping breaths. Miller was found guilty of murdering Lee Holdbrooks, Christopher Scott Yancey, and Terry Jarvis in 1999, and the state had previously tried to execute him by lethal injection in 2022. In his final words, muffled by the mask covering his face from forehead to chin, Miller said, "I didn't do anything to be in here." He was one of 5 inmates scheduled for execution within a week, a notably high number that contradicts the declining trend of death penalty use in the U.S. Tonight, justice was finally served for these 3 victims through the execution method elected by the inmate, Alabama Gov. Kay Ivey said in a statement. Stated Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, "His acts were not that of insanity, but pure evil. 3 families were forever changed by his heinous crimes, and I pray that they can find comfort all these years later." The execution was the second to use the new method Alabama first employed in January, when Kenneth Smith was put to death. The method involves placing a respirator gas mask over the inmate's face to replace breathable air with pure nitrogen gas, causing death by lack of oxygen. Alabama officials and advocates have argued over whether Smith suffered an unconstitutional level of pain during his execution after he shook in seizure-like spasms for more than 2 minutes while strapped to the gurney and then gasped for breath for several minutes. A delivery truck driver, Miller was convicted of capital murder for the August 5, 1999, shootings that claimed 3 lives and shocked the city of Pelham, a suburban city just south of Birmingham. Police say that early that morning, Miller entered Ferguson Enterprises and fatally shot 2 co-workers, Holdbrooks, 32, and Yancey, 28. He then drove 5 miles away to Post Airgas, where he had previously worked, and shot Jarvis, 39. Trial testimony indicated that Miller was paranoid and believed his co-workers had been gossiping about him. "You've been spreading rumors about me," a witness described Miller as saying before he opened fire. All 3 men were shot multiple times. Initially, Miller pleaded not guilty due to insanity, but later retracted this plea. A psychiatrist employed by the defense stated that while Miller was mentally ill, his condition wasn't severe enough to form the basis of an insanity defense, as per court documents. After a mere 20 minutes of deliberation, the jury found Miller guilty and recommended, with a 10-2 vote, that he be sentenced to death.